Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 6 and 7 in my Owarimonogatari second season reaction series. Back here again today for some more Monogatari goodness. Finishing up an arc today, I believe. I don't know why it would go beyond a season, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we're finishing an arc today, which is cool. So a couple of things, you may notice that it looks a bit better in here. It's because I got an actual light. So I'm still figuring out the best settings at the best point in time. So right now I have the YouTube comments up here, which I'll just get up because why not? It makes the screen very bright. So I've got it pretty dim at the moment, just to not absolutely blow the fuck out of my face. But when the episode is up, potentially a very dark episode, pardon the pun, I may readjust some things, and we'll see how we go from there. At worst, it's only just going to look as bad as it did before, if the light isn't working properly, but I believe it looks like a million times better. The only thing is if I, position myself weird, I get a bit of a shadow from the hat, but I don't know, you take the good with the bad, I guess. But yeah, last week we made some discoveries, or at least I think I did. The thing I've noticed with the comments, there's only 6 of them, even though some are a little bit long. Generally, if I'm getting stuff, straight up wrong, there'll be a ton of comments. So I'm cautiously optimistic about my predictions last week. Let's say that. That I'll go into again. I'll reiterate a lot of that stuff when I do my little recap of last week's stuff. When I do that, I'll talk about it a little bit more because I've had to think about it. And yeah, there's more and more stuff the more I think about it. I could have added another 5 minutes onto the end of the last video, even talking about it again. But either way, I better skedaddle because these are 2 pretty big episodes and I don't want to be standing on ceremony. So Neilu, first comment here. The first paragraph here reminded me of something that is very important as well, and we'll talk about this stuff at the end of Owarimonogatari. And I guess the setup of Augie being the darkness, right? I think they thought that I was more media literate than I was. I was just more confused than anything else. They thought that I thought that Augie was the darkness, and a lot of people thought this, for the record. Never at any point did I think this. I thought that the darkness was a third-party thing, and I thought that Augie was a third-party thing. And I think that's kind of what we're doing. Kind of. We'll see where Augie's going. She's not the darkness, but pretending to be in some weird ways was the language last episode. Anyway, we'll see. So the dialogue at the end of Oni, though, talking about the darkness, and when we learn about the darkness, because the framing device of that arc is Araragi talking to Augie. It's a very commonplace job, like the overwhelming darkness that takes up most of the universe. Correct the mistaken, end what needs to be ended. If I had to describe it, I would say it's a job that punishes the liars. The liars. And seems to almost be proud of such a thing. Heavily implying that the liars, especially with the visual language of that part of the episode, that the liar was Araragi. And we'll speak about this as well. Why is Araragi lying? Why does Augie potentially want to correct something like that? And yeah, I think, as we go into this paragraph, I think time between episodes does a lot as well, right? If you're binging the show, potentially you lean more on this kind of thing because you've got a lot of stuff fresh in your mind. I'd forgotten this dialogue, straight up. Even though I wrote it down, I wrote it down in my document, I forgot it. I straight up, yeah. So if you're watching it all in one go, potentially have a better chance there. And it does make sense, especially with, as we keep talking about Augie separating Araragi from various people, it would make sense if she had a hand in the most direct separation of all, I guess. I guess I never really had a grudge on Augie. I just thought she was a little weirdo. I didn't really know what was going on. So again, we're just rolling with the punches at the moment. I mean, yeah, and we're ignoring the layer of the, I guess, text that is the visual language, right? Where Augie is frequently shown to be associated with darkness, so your brain makes connection between darkness and Augie, potentially the darkness and Augie. And now we get to the punchline. Nisio Asin thought you would think this, and then did the opposite, because it's Nisio Asin. I've seen Kubikiri's cycle. He does weird shit all the time. Nothing can surprise me now that I've watched that first part of that story anyway. Yeah, he had people right where he wanted them to be, which is, as a good writer should do. G Bird, next comment here. This opening reminds me of the Sodachi one, with the mirror stuff, but it's not as headachy. This opening for this current season that we're watching is fantastic. It's one of the best openings I've seen in ages. It's pairing a fantastic song with just some fantastic pop-off moments in the music matching to the... Yeah, I'll talk about the opening more when we watch it supposedly 2 more times today, and I'll talk about all the little things that I found within it as well, because it's full of references to what I think's going on with the story. So again, I think it's fantastic. You're not gonna You're not going to get a bad word out of me for that opening. The Sodachi one with the mirrors is, we'll say. Jaromiro highlighting something that I thought would have been a way bigger thing is the Kamimashita God connection Hachikuji stuff, right? With her little spiel and linking that into what her actual role may be in Gai Nezuko's plan, which is just great. I think that's fantastic. We've made this connection before. I think somebody showed something on Discord, maybe put it up here if you can find it, where Hachikuji referenced this connection already, but now it's way more literal. Jean Bueno, next comment here. Augi's foreshadow as the darkness is very prominent in the series ever since the post-credit stuff in Orni, and apparently even more so in the novels, but I believe Araragi's surprise there doesn't come from her not being the darkness per se, because Augi had already told him, but let's think about it. The darkness is not an apparition, it's a manifestation of the rules themselves. So even if not the darkness itself, he was still sure she would be a materialization of something and not just an ordinary monster. I think, yeah, you're talking another level up from where I am. Where I think it's plenty interesting that Augi is an apparition, especially, again, based on what we know about apparitions in the show and how they manifest from humans, right? Apparently there's some mad fucking Naruto shit. So, let me clarify. With the whole snail, slug, snake, there's like a frog. That's a thing apparently that the Japanese people know, and it would make a whole lot more sense for me or for them than me, based off their knowledge of Japanese stuff. Am I making any sense? Again, like you would make the connection in your head. It would be like a oh moment instead of me just being like, oh okay, sure. Instead of me just going with it, I guess. So it's the tale of the gallant Jiraiya, which I know is a Naruto. This may even be a Naruto too. This is definitely a Naruto, I think. Yeah. So it's like scissors paper rock. Like what is it? Frog strong against slug, but then slug strong against snake, but then snake strong against frog. That would make sense. Well, this is fun. The name of Shirahebi Park, like that was being lost to time by misinterpreting the language. The same thing happened when the game went from China to Japan, because in the original Chinese version uses frog centipede snake, but because of traditional belief that centipedes were capable of killing a snake by entering its head, which I think I've heard something about this as well. That's like some Sekiro shit. But the kanji for centipede was confused with the character for slug, so it stayed Japanese tradition. That's cute. Okay, so like a language quirk being used in another way in the show to describe something else. That's cool. That's why Hachikuji's snail, directly related to a slug, was capable of winning the tug of war against the snake and not being consumed by it like Nadeko was. By the way, if you remember, her mother's name was also Tsunade. Sure. Whatever you say. I think this is another really impressive part about this portion of the show, the latter portion. How we're connecting it all together, right? How the one decision by Kishshot has kind of, again, splashed out into a bunch of other things and basically presented the narrative as we know it today. Things wouldn't be what they are in the narrative if Kishshot didn't land in Japan like 400 years ago. And yeah, people are excited for these 2 episodes. I think I've heard externally, even before watching the show, that this is a really well-regarded piece of the show, so I'm excited. We're going to watch it here today. Venomoose, next comment here. Just caught up in time for the favorite arc and favorite opening. Sadly, it's pretty difficult to actually say anything at this point, so we're just going to wait till next week. It's here. And then this one here, I don't really understand from Fosu. You don't seem to understand. A shame you seemed an honest man. Are we linking that into the Araragi liar stuff? Or are we just being cute and doing some Lane stuff? Because I like Lane. Everyone loves Lane. Let's all love Lane. This song's like massive on TikTok at the moment too. That's like, what happened there? Also, like, if you think about the themes of Lane anyway, I'm rambling, but you know what I mean? That's fucking weird. So back to the recap. We start with an opening monologue centering on Augie and her roll up to this point, that she's an aberration, and that fact is hilarious. I'll talk about it in this one. Araragi shows up to Namashiro Park, or Shirahebi Park, depending on your the way you swing. Shinobu, Hachikuji, Yotsugi, Gaian, they're doing baseball, hijinks ensue. We settle into an episode of explanations and exposition, among other things. Guyan explains the situation around the shrine 400 years ago, and the movement, the mismatch of the shrines, and the movement there, and the water snake and the land snake. Essentially, we end up with two goals, right? Our goals have to be to exterminate Augie, again, that word exterminate, and find somebody to enshrine at the shrine, right? So we asked everyone what our goals are, right? Araragi's goal is pretty airy-fairy. He just cares about other people's goals, so that turns the focus to Shinobu and Hachikuji. Shinobu says that she would like to be small again, but also she'll just follow Araragi wherever he goes because he's the master or whatever. Hachikuji's like, well, I don't really want to go back to hell, but as long as I can keep talking with Araragi, that sounds pretty sweet. Guy Nezuko basically decides then and there, or potentially before that point, that, hey, we're going to enshrine Hachikuji. How cool is that? And then we get into our it had a word, the rock, paper, scissors stuff that we were talking about just before. I'm trying not to call it Naruto. Either way, upon explaining everything, they keep bringing up this word exterminate with Augie, and then Araragi's like, what gives? Why do we keep saying that? And then matter-of-factly, Guy Nezuko says that Augie is an aberration. And initially, it's very funny. You could watch my train of thought last episode, right? Where I'm like, why is that a reveal? To, oh shit, this may be the biggest thing in the entire show. And then seeing a ton of shit that backs me up on that. So one, she is not the darkness, the literal darkness, and our big metaphor. And also an aberration. So, yes, right. Not the darkness is interesting, right? Because then okay. Let's dive in. Araragi, Augie, mirror metaphor, two sides. Somehow, somewhere, there was a mismatch, and it created the aberration of Augie from Araragi's thoughts, right? I'm broadly basing it off the Kizumonogatari stuff, where he had a certain point of view there that was challenged, and then got involved in the occult world, and then at that point, there's a triggering point somewhere where Augie is manifested, I think. So if Augie isn't the darkness in our thing, that means Araragi is the darkness. That's what I'm getting at, right? And Augie is the light. And like doing things right the first time versus making mistakes versus humans inherently good, inherently bad, fake, real, which one's better? And it all becomes a big old mess. Who represents what and where? Right? Essentially, this connection exists between Augie and Araragi that has been blatant the whole time. It just took the revelation that she's actually just an aberration, not a human, not something else. Just an aberration for me to put it together. That, yeah, Augie is Araragi in a weird way. Some kind of weird manifestation off of him. And I brought up a ton of stuff at the end of the last episode, but there's even more that I've discovered that I'll continue to talk about probably during the opening at the start of this recording session. Food for thought, most certainly. This is what I believe at this point. Manifestation of some kind of doubt in Araragi. That's what I would think, right? Yeah, just me like asking the question to Discord that's like, why is this relevant? And then like figuring it out. It's like, oh shit, nobody tell me anything. I think I've got it. I think that was a fun little hour block there. Anyway, I should jump in. Predictions, I've kind of just went over it. I don't know what we're going to do with the guy and stuff, but sure, we're just going to leave that. I'm more interested in Augie, considering the arc is her namesake. Either way, shill stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel. I hit 600 subscribers, mostly thanks to Girls on Panzer, which is popping the fuck off. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe please, because the number going up makes me feel good. What did I say? Comment. You should comment on the video. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to do that regardless. What else do I normally say? Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back, and the Discord. Join Discord, talk about all sorts of Monogatari adjacent things on the Discord, as well as other stuff. And yeah, we're going to jump into episode 6 of Owarimonogatari Season 2 right now. Rightio, I have episode 6 of Owarimonogatari Season 2 up here ready to go. Pop that up on screen there. 23 minutes and 22 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. I've messed around with the lighting again. It should be fine for however dark this episode's going to be. Augie dark, do you get it? Toy Schwei subs, picture in picture. Let's just dive in and see what we can see, right? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, opening. Okay, cool. Yeah, this opening's got like a ton of stuff about what I think is happening, right? Which is some kind of mirror, stage metaphor, black, white, Augie Araragi job, right? So yeah, again, like dark figure runs in, smashes into mirror, Augie pops out the other side. Looks kind of like Araragi. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's all about you, all about me. All your things, all my things, they're our things. Both powering each side of the story lighting up. Think about it. Just yeah, I've got a hunch. I think there's a lot of evidence pointing me in the right direction here. I don't know what the electricity thing's about, but the bike, Araragi loves a bike. I don't know about doing tricks because you know, I've only ever seen him crash. I don't know about twin tower imagery on Today of all days as well. But anyway, I digress. I have a pretty good idea. Let's put it that way. That's our story. Mirror, dark figure. Don't know what the cherry's about. Not at all. Are we going to be exactly where we left off? Yes. 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 Okay. Indeed. Okay. I don't know, because I didn't assume anything else? Hmm. Yeah, I remember that part. I don't... Fan? She was a fan of Kambaro? Oh, fucking... Seriously? Not the fan. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, I do. I have a pretty good inkling, but you know. Indeed. Indeed. What side are you on, Araragi? Indeed. Yeah? Oh. Oh. Yeah, okay. I can understand why Shinobu would feel that way. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I'm interested about. Explain yourself? Okay. Yes, I know who Guy and Toy is. Yes. Not the Guy and Toy imagery. Oh, hell nah. She was a dangerous individual? Okay. Like the darkness, but kind of like the darkness? Okay. No, I want to hear more about that. Yeah, because that's what I'm getting at, right? Yeah, okay. Most certainly you did. Especially early on. Especially early on, for sure. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Alright. I'd like to think I'm on the right track. People just save themselves on their own. Huh. But sometimes you need a little help. She's unknown. Unknown even to Guyan is crazy. Exactly. Okay. So if you tell her, like, what she is, and then the laws of the universe, right? Darkness? Yeah. Okay, cool. She's sick? Why is she doing a backflip? Yeah. Oh, because it would have some kind of personal vendetta? Maybe. Not the classroom. Oh, that's I recognize each and every one of those. That's fantastic. Hmm. Okay. What, by telling it what it was? The mummy hand? Thoughts? Okay. Sure, you're speaking in circles, but sure. Oh. Yeah, because this scene's still like lingering in the back of my mind, right? What did he say here? Ah, Big Shinobu. Uh, what? When was that? When did Araragi said he won't save Shinobu? Was that at the end of? Okay, shut up. Why the fuck are we with Nodeko and Tsukihi? Why? Either way, like, I think the Shinobu stuff's at the end of Kizu. I think. I think that's what they're implying. Oh, she looks cute. Okay, I like the short hair. I know one has. I mean, you need things to go your way. Unless you believe in your talent. I like that she's helping with the manga stuff. Mm, no, that was a few arcs ago. It's fine. Huh. Yeah, you're just kind of vibing, huh? Other people? Wait, what is she wearing? No, not those clothes. No. Why? Either way, focus. People who want to do things, drawn to them? Yeah, I mean, I was thinking more Araragi, but sure. Well, they're both Araragi. You know my point. And of course, Nadeko, because you're here helping her at the moment too. It's a big old metaphor, everybody. Oh, but it could be. Is that a bike clock? What was that? What eventually happens to people like me? You'll be, I don't know, how far are you behind Karen? How many years is there between Karen and Tsukihi? Because they won't be apart for long. This is nice. Yeah. We made it, everybody. Happy ending. Hmm. So stay alive. Simple, right? I wonder if we can change this metaphor into a little bit more of an orgy situation. Speak of the devil. I don't like the colors here at all. On the soundtrack, it's like I'm in a fucking empty lot. Okay. Does he? Hmm. Ooh, that's cool. It's scary. Also, why are you doing that? Why you got your arms out? Yeah, not for your help. What are you talking about? Japanese, extremely Japanese moment. She's back being alive. She was like a god. I don't know. Is that being alive? Indeed. This is all well and good, but what did Guyan say? Because that's very important to my understanding of this. Yeah, say the line. Say the line. It's true. We just saw that. Hmm. Huh. Have we got a new type? Because she lives in the present. She does a bit of everything. Oh, because she's like she's immortal. Is that what you mean? Well, yeah, literally, because Araragi. Yeah, okay, we're bringing that up. And you have no idea? Yeah, okay. Huh, okay, that's crazy. People can't live with their own accord. Interesting. Okay, great. What are we doing? I don't like the vibe. Why are we going the wrong way? I don't like the vibe. Not my girl Sukihi. Please no. Are we at the cram school? Yeah, there's some Monogatari shots, for sure. Oh, of course you wouldn't. Yeah, okay. You're not going to be like, oh, the cram school. It's kind of like an apparition of a building or something. What is that code? Quadruple zero. Most certainly did. Hardy ha. Are we being a little bit fourth wall? Yeah, okay. Because, yeah. Yeah. So now mystery is, yeah, because this is the end of the mystery as well. Okay, alright. I wish I heard that one line so I could see what the mystery is, what the end of the mystery is. Yeah. Elaborate. Okay. Okay. That's like a fiction versus real life perspective, right? Interesting. Hmm. Okay, sure. I wouldn't make Augie pissed off at the moment. She seems like she's on edge. Huh. I see. Okay. So you're not going to get the same treatment. Hmm. Huh? Okay. Sure. She's just living in the moment, dog. She's not thinking about the future. Yeah, probably. It's very simple, isn't it? Okay. Not the bike. Think about it. Think about the bike. Oh, he's cool. Why is he on like a Game of Thrones throne? Also, yeah, I didn't expect Araragi to be here. Okay. Alright, is Tsukihi gonna be okay? Oh, and that was the combination on the bike. Oh. Alright, did we just let her go? Okay. And now we're just gonna talk it out? I wonder how long in the episode's left. A few minutes. Okay, a little bit. We decided to bind ourselves together again? Is that what she meant by small? She wants to be small again. And yeah, that's interesting for Shinobu, that character development side. That's a Monogatari-ism, everybody. Okay, cool. Oh, you mean Hachikuji? It most certainly was. Well, I didn't find it. Guyan found it. Huh. Yeah, you did. Was that Koyomi Monogatari we're talking about? I think they were big old metaphors for this situation, if I'm being real. Fake, real, inherently good, inherently bad, white, black, fan, darkness, something. I don't know. We convinced her that we loved her. Huh? I guess if we told her she was a phoenix, she still wouldn't go? Oh. Okay, is that stopping that? It was, yeah, that's like some Nisei stuff. That's like the beautiful part about Nisei. I see. Okay, alright, and that's the connection there. Is anybody gonna love Augie? Interesting. The music there was crazy too. Oh, that's Bucky as well. Hmm. Why is it something only you can do? But what is it that you want to do as well, right? What side are you going to fall on it? Are they also my friends? What's the future stuff this episode too? I guess with like graduations tomorrow. Let's make it clear. Well, you have been asking for pleading. Yeah, okay. So you're cutting through the artifice? I, in your own way, I guess. The music? Hello? Well, because life's cool. You don't want to die. By telling you what you are. Yeah? Okay. Alright. Cool. I was right. Kind of. In my own weird way. And I think it was foreshadowed pretty heavily this episode that I was right, to the point where once we got up to the reveal, I was kind of like, well, yeah. It wouldn't make any sense if it's like, I'm actually a manifestation of Oshino Meme. It's like, what? Wouldn't make any sense for it to be anything else. So I think I got there an episode early, if I was to be real for a moment, which is fine. Just meant that a lot of this episode was kind of just like they're teasing about it, really making sure that everybody's on board. And then, yeah, cool. So yeah, it's funny that like last episode, I went to Discord, I'm like, what's like the connection here, right? And then if anybody told me anything, it'd be massive spoilers. Yeah, you just got to think about it for a moment, and you'll get there. And everything just falls into place from there too. I think the interesting direction the episode took was around the midpoint when we went and spoke with Nadeko for a bit, and then with Tsukihi for a bit. I think the kind of second person way we kind of get across the metaphors that we're trying to get across is very cool. Tsukihi's an interesting character to talk about this with as well. Just along with the episode itself being visually and audio wise really good. There's also the stuff with Guy and Toy, which is we can talk about that. That's kind of crazy, right? Rightio, and just a little bit of analysis on episode 6 of Owarimonogatari Season 2. And we're back, and that was the big reveal. Orgi is Araragi, Araragi is Orgi. They are two sides of the same mirror, one representing light, one representing dark, one representing one point of view, one representing another. What I'm curious about, because broadly, like I predicted this, right? And then the more and more that I thought about it, the more and more I saw evidence for it. Like, why is she so intrinsically like aligned with Haragi at every point, right? My focus becomes now, what is the trigger point? What created this aberration? What is the mismatch in the head space or the action space? What led to this creation? Yeah, and I think that's broadly pretty interesting as I try to sit up a little bit high in my chair, maybe, so I'm in shot better. Maybe. I don't even know if that was successful. I don't know. I think on the surface level, people were probably like, why didn't you, like, react harder? I had a pretty good idea. I don't think it would make much sense for it to be anything else. And again, the focus now shifts to the why. It doesn't help that the rest of the episode is blatantly pointing it out. I think at basically every point, but I'll go through my points that I've written down here. Very hard episode to summarize. I wouldn't say that a lot really happens. A lot of information is revealed. And I think, like, specifically, some stuff is super fucking interesting, like this. So we'll talk about it. So Gai Nezuko continues from where we left off, like, quite literally. Like, it's literally the end of the next conversation. Or the start, You know what I mean? It continues straight on. We're equating the current situation with Augie as an unknown aberration to something similar that happened with Guy and Toei. And apparently in this scenario, Toei told the aberration its true nature and it went away, so that's what we advise Araragi to do. We, the audience, don't get to hear what this true nature is. That is left for us to discover in the same moment as Augie. We almost shift point of view character to Augie at this point as well. Briefly with Tsukihi, it's a weird episode for point of view character stuff, but I digress. So let's talk about Guy and Toei, right? And specifically, Kaiki's affection for her is very, very interesting now, right? Like, because now we're equating some philosophy stuff from Araragi to Kaiki. They've got similar points of view, even though they fucking hate each other. They won't admit it, but they do. We've got Guy and Toei here as well, right? Who may be similar to some aspects of Araragi, tough on herself and others, I believe the line was. Which definitely equates to Araragi, especially back in the day, right? Tough on himself from the whole justice side, and tough on others from the whole justice side as well. This being kind of shattered in a way from the whole classroom stuff, him wanting to forget about that kind of stuff. Is the aberration made from these things that Araragi wanted to forget, these bad experiences within his life? Maybe. It'd be a weird thing to happen, but sure. Either way, I should continue, because then we switch perspectives to Tsukihi, and I think we get pretty interesting. So, she's helping with the manga, but this portion of the episode, and broadly the stuff with Augie as well, when she's talking with Augie, it serves the same purpose. It's to talk about the Augie Araragi situation from afar, basically, and some different perspectives on life and the lessons we've learned throughout the show, and what can we apply to our own lives and Araragi's life by proxy, because he's the most like self-inserty, right? What can we take from these perspectives, especially from Nadeko and Tsukihi, of finding a talent, focusing on your talent, working to improve yourself, looking for opportunities, blah blah blah, and then Tsukihi living in the present, don't worry about the future, living in the I resonated with that for sure. Right? Life becomes better when you don't think about the future as hard, right? The future's going to happen one way or the other. Keeping a present state of mind is potentially more important. I don't know. We say it while we're wearing the Nisei Monogatari toothbrush scene clothes, like she's cosplaying as a sister that got like diddled by his brother, for lack of a better term, which I didn't like. I didn't think it was cute. That was funny. Either way, like so then we're on the bike with Augie. And again, I'll go into it a little bit more specifically when we get back in and analyze. That's a word. Analyze the rest of what we have going on. But they serve the same purpose. What does Augie think? How is Tsukihi contrary to that? I'll talk about how Tsukihi's presence is very, very important, and the end of Nisei Monogatari, Tsukihi Phoenix, is very important to what I think will happen next, very shortly. But I don't know why Augie takes her to the cram school, only to let her go again. What am I missing? Did she not expect Araragi to be there? Did Augie want to do something to Tsukihi to want to like take a hostage and preserve her own life in a weird way? I don't know. I got some terrible vibes off of it, I'm going to be real. The other broad theory I had is, now that I know that Augie Araragi was picking her up from there, just kind of almost an instinct, right? Oh, of course. They both ride a bike. Am I stupid? They of course. They both ride a bike. I'm going to find like a million of these, right? Everyone's probably going to tell me on Discord all the different ways that they've been like the same character the whole time. I think the most obvious one, the one that blew my mind the most, is the character design. They look like the same now. I don't know why, but they do. Either way, the rest of the episode, once Araragi meets Augie sitting on his weird throne of classroom desks and stuff, Augie basically pleads for her life, in as many words, but in a very casual Augie-esque way. The episode then ends with Araragi saying Augie's true nature, which is himself, and then we'll see what happens. So, I want to talk what I think will happen. I don't think we have an episode left. I don't think Augie's going to like turn into dust and fly away and die, right? I think Araragi loves Augie in some weird twisted way. And it's beautiful, right? Because then he loves himself. Think about it. He loves even the bad sides of himself, the sides that he wanted to forget, the side that used to be like this, that used to exclude him from everybody else. He loves it. He wants to bring that into himself potentially, right? That's great. I think he's going to say this, and she's not going to go, because he loves her. In the same way that, Like we're implying if we tell Tsukiki her true nature, she may explode, right? But then Augie says no, because your big brother still loves you, right? You still got that going for you. So the darkness isn't going to take that away. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't think that, just pacing wise, I don't think Augie fucking carks it in the start of the next episode. Unless we do some weird flashback stuff. I don't know. I thought there was a very clever sequence through the middle of the episode as well, where we just pan on a bunch of different shots that I could literally show you where those shots are early in the show, of where Augie has been talking with Araragi. So interesting there. And yeah, of course, there's a bunch of Monogatari fourth wall BS about mystery novels and reveals and that kind of thing, which is just very fun. And yeah, I think I'll grab the episode now and go through it and hopefully tuck on into that episode 7. So yeah, I've gone through the opening enough times, and I think I'll go through it once again once we come back. So I think I'll just jump straight into the episode proper. Yeah, again, exactly where we left off, basically. On what basis are you calling Augie-chan a monster? An aberration. On what basis do you call her Oshino Augie, right? Just because she told you that? And then that gets our mind ticking, right? What could she actually be? So now we can start to talk. Now we got some confirmation. We can start to talk about like why Augie is the way she is, right? Why did she call herself Oshino Augie? Why did this weird manifestation of Araragi name himself from the same family, like tied to Oshino Meme in a weird way, right? Isn't that strange? Isn't that really strange? I wish I had the wherewithal to talk about that a little bit stronger. I think I talked about it last week. Why is she the form of a middle school, high school girl, right? Because Araragi likes younger women. It's what he says as such, right? Yeah, that's why I think she takes that form, right? A bunch of other stuff. The Augie fan part of it, right? A fan of of Kambaru's basketball career. But then we also go into the fan side of it with the universe and the celestial stuff we were talking about with Senju Gahara before. So yeah, I think that construction is very interesting now too. Yeah, fan, Augie, Hachikuji says as such. It's a facepalm moment. I even forgot that she was introduced by Kambaru as a fan, so sure. Yeah, her claim to be Meme's niece is a lie. Oh, now, okay. Remember how there was some weird shit with, oh, you know what's fucking sticking in my mind like crazy right now? Yo, Hanamonogatari? Hang on. Everyone shut up. Hanamonogatari, Augie's alive. Augie's talking with Kambaru. Augie is also like a male student, which makes more sense now, by the way. Augie is just Augie. Augie is Araragi. Augie has to be alive by the end of everything we have going on here, right? Why write it like that? Why write Hanamonogatari there? So you're kind of ruining the Araragi dying subplot as well. That would stay permanent. And you're ruining this Augie stuff now too by proxy? Unless we can reinterpret. Am I going stupid? Did this actually happen? I'm not stupid, everybody. So Augie's talking with Kambaru here, right? And being really, like, weird about some... There's the guy in Toei Augie stuff? Not Augie, but kind of like an Augie for guy in Toei? So now this is super interesting as well. What the fuck? This show's crazy. Yo. What are all these tetrominos, though? I don't understand that. Yeah, because and then because we're implying some stuff later about Guy and Toei and Aberration and the arm and the demon and that kind of stuff. Then Araragi showing up? Yo, think about this. That's kind of crazy. So yeah, from what I just saw there, we can pretty much confirmed that she isn't going to like turn into dust right now, unless something else weird happens. Apparently, we're gonna kill Augie with the apparition slayer thing, but then like Araragi being here and being aware of this is a better method, right? Like originally, so say Araragi didn't come back for some weird reason, right? We're just gonna kill Augie with the fucking thing, with the killer with the big sword. But Araragi being here is fine because he can say these words and Augie will just disappear and it'll be great. It'll be fine. This line here, like, oi, 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 which side are you on anyway? That's, yeah, interesting, huh? Whose side has he been on this whole time? So actually, yeah, she formed both swords, right? Or did she steal the sword and then make Dreamspan? I don't know. I guess it's semantics. It doesn't really matter. And yeah, of course, Shinobu would be at least somewhat peeved that you stole the dude's armor, especially during that that goodbye, right? That tearful goodbye, that farewell. Just why do that? Guyan, basically. Based on that comment, the Demon Sword Heartspan being used earlier to play cricket wasn't Shinobu's, but rather the replica Guyan created. Okay, so Shinobu has the proper Heartspan, and now we're using fake Heartspan. So there's two Heartspans? There's a replica? Okay, whatever. I'm sure it doesn't matter. Then we get interesting. By what means did you predict the existence of Orgi? Well, I'm just speaking from experience. Of course, Guyan Izuko would be aware of Guyan Toei and her past experience with such a thing, which was apparently very similar to Araragi's situation. I love how we're using this imagery. Again, back in Monogatari, this is the imagery we saw, like, to represent these kind of dreams that Kambaro was having about Guyan Toei, and her pretty prickly persona, let's say. In a way, she was like you, Koyomin. As a grade schooler, I thought my older sister was trouble. I knew she was a dangerous individual. How to put it, she wasn't a monster, but she was like a monster. I'm equating this to, again, the line about Orgi, where she's not the darkness, but kind of like the darkness, kind of imitating the darkness, right? A fake darkness, if you would. Quasi-darkness, I think, is the term we're using. Tough on herself and tough on others. The tougher things got, the more she thought it was for good. Justice, anybody? For now, it's enough to say that her personality type reminds me of Araragi. And yeah, I think, especially pre the rest of the show, right? Like the before times, like Neko Kuro and like Kizu and stuff. But then, like, again, my point is, like, what's the point in which Orgi is created? Which I'm sure we'll get into next episode. What is the catalyst there? I don't know what like, tough on myself, tough on others. Like, Araragi doesn't realize that. Lack of self-awareness, maybe. And then this, like, weird look from Hachikuji. I don't know what all that is. I'll have Araragi do the same thing my sister did. Apparently he's the only one that can do it. It needs to be the person that the aberration is based off of. You must do it by yourself. Some people just save themselves on their own. Hardy ha. But what even is yourself in this argument, right? Saving oneself on their own could include saving Orgi as well, right? The parts that potentially you want to keep. The threat that Orgi represents is that she's unknown, therefore revealing her true identity would cause it to collapse, and then she'd become a fake aberration doing some weird shit, she'd get eaten up by the darkness. That's all well and good. So we just got to tell her what she is, and then the universe itself will realize she's fake and then take her out. Of course, everybody here, Shinobu and Hachikuji, would know very much well about the darkness that happens when you are an aberration that is faking, right? It's literally what threatens to kill you. It's what threatens to kill you and causes you to flee to fucking Antarctica. And then, yeah, the whole first situation plays out from there, which is kind of crazy. Anyway, they would know. And then she does a backflip. I don't know why she does like a cool backflip. We're implying some extra special justice for Orgi in this regard from the universe itself, because she's faking as the darkness itself, so there may be some kind of retribution there. Of course, I love this shot, or these shots, I should say. The classroom, right? We saw the staircase. We see here. We see this is where fucking Kaiki dies. This is where she was talking, like, just before about Dreamspan or whatever. Like, if we keep moving through here. Like, again, the staircase. This is where she was talking with Araragi briefly, but also this is where she was talking with Nadeko. This, of course, during Suki Monogatari, during that frankly terrifying scene at the start of episode 4. Episode 4, by the way, such a good episode. Yeah, I don't know this ordinary monster stuff with Orgi. That's a bit over my head, but sure. Yeah, this is interesting, right? So your older sister defeated, like, a similar thing, this quasi-darkness, with this method, right? Just calling it by its name, telling it what it is. She nods, yes, that's right. Pan to arm. What does this imply? I think it implies some stuff about the mummified hand stuff, right? This demon form, whatever. Devil. We were calling it devil, not demon. Devil. This devil shit. That has something to do with, like, the Orgi equivalent for Guyan Toei. This quasi-darkness. Which, like, there's layers to this. Kambaro being haunted, or being monkey-spawed into some weird situation by literally her mother's baggage, like literally, is crazy. Like and that's only revealed well after the fact. Like this is the third arc in the show, right? And it's got relevance even now. Had relevance to Hana Monogatari, of course, but now it's got even more, right? And then you can apply that to fucking what's her face? Oh my god, Numachi Roka and all that stuff. That's some crazy layers. Even if that's correct, I don't know if that's correct, if that interpretation is. But why else would you show the hand there? So there's the Orgy pleading scene on one side at the end of the last arc that is leading into this one. We still didn't really get an answer to. I think the answer implied from this one is kind of just like, I'll think about it, and then he walks away. Yeah, interesting, right? In the past, there was a time when I rejected a request from Kishot in a similar way. I think that's when Kishot is asking, please just kill me. Kill me, kill me, kill me, right? Which again has some major baggage now that we know all about the stuff with the first, right? Araragi refusing to do that and making this weird failed vampire compromise dichotomy experiment crazy thing. I think that's relevant as well as we continue. I think that's what we're talking about, is my point. Radio, I won't save Oshino Orgi, so tell me what she is so I can go tell her that. Cap, you're lying. Stop lying to me. Or maybe he doesn't know that he's lying to her right now, right? Maybe it'll be a surprise to him as well, and that'll lead to some emotional stuff. Okay, and then we get to like weird mouth stuff aside. We get to an interesting story decision in the episode, which is holding this information, right? Like teasing the audience, basically. We pan to a different point of view character now after this, which is Tsukihi for a bit. I think it's brilliant, right? Because Tsukihi and her situation is the perfect counter to everything we have going on. It's an aberration that the guy and crew has kind of just left, right? And then we're equating being cute as well. Does Orgi potentially not see herself as cute in a weird way, right? Where Tsukihi's cute, so she can get away with this kind of thing. Her big brother loves her, so that's fine. Does my big brother love me in a similar way? That's kind of funny. Okay, yeah, like, And then, of course, in Nisei's, where we're bringing up in that similar arc, all this fake, real, like, scale of opinion stuff, right? That we all wrote really big paragraphs about, which I think is coming to the fore now as it relates to Araragi. Right, Orgi's just the method in which we get this information across. But yeah, big old tease for the audience. Here's Tsukihi. We're drawing manga with Nadeko. It's good to see Nadeko again. I like her hair. We'll get the better shot of your outfit here in a minute and why it's not great, but but I digress. This seemingly is the similar manga panels we saw to before, last time we saw her manga. It looks cool, looks cute. I'd read it, I guess. This almost looks like fucking Ishigami down here. What the fuck? Anyway, we have a conversation about talent versus getting lucky versus succeeding versus something else, right? Like, even if I'm good at manga and have a talent for it and a passion, doesn't mean it'll always work out. You won't make it into the top tier unless you believe in your talent. I agree with both sides here. This is a realist perspective, and this is somebody that wants to encourage a friend. That's good. Her room is still gaudy as hell, though. It kind of feels like you're trying to trick me. I just do what I want to do. In a similar way to explain that Tsukihi just does what she wants to do as well. She just kind of vibes. Maybe this is a good, like, worldview. Tsukihi explains her own point of view on the subject, right? Like, I don't really have my own goals or anything, right? Her base goal is her true nature that she can't talk to at the moment, right? Which is this phoenix thing, which is just immortality, existing forever, right? It's no wonder she doesn't have a goal of a future. She doesn't have a finish line, right? She doesn't have a time limit on needing to do something by a certain point. I think that's kind of what we're trying to get across with our character. But maybe that's the best way to live as well, right? Not thinking about the repercussions of anything and just kind of doing what we can do in the moment, right? Of course, within reason. Don't just submit to base desires and go like, hey, I want to buy like 1 billion lottery tickets right now, so I'm gonna go buy like 1 billion, and then you just like lose. Don't do that. But take elements of this, I think, is what we're getting at. As I said before, these exist broadly as metaphors for the Araragi situation as well. So what he should do with his view on Augie. This is where we get the best shot of it. Please put image of Karen in the same clothes in Nisei Monogatari episode 8, I want to say. Please put that shot up here. These are cursed clothes. Nobody should ever wear these clothes. Thank you. That is my TED talk. Yeah, this whole time when she's talking about supporting people, is she talking about Karen? Is she talking about Araragi? Is she talking about Nadeko even now? Right? I'm helping you with your manga. Isn't that the same thing I've been doing to Karen with her justice stuff and Araragi with whatever the hell he has going on during various points in his life, right? Love, among other things. I wonder what eventually happens to people like me. I have to think about my plans for the future before it's too late, because right now I'm feeling left behind again, like I did 2 years ago when I was in 6th grade. So when she was in 6th grade, she felt left behind because Karen obviously went to high school, or middle school, I should say, and she was left in elementary. And of course, I should decide what I want to do, who I want to be. Interesting, we're having this conversation with Nadeko as well, who has seemingly found what this is, right? Who she wants to be. And that's led to the fixing of some of her problems. Again, broadly speaking, that's a very shallow view of Koi Monogatari. I almost said Koyomi. But yeah, that was kind of the metaphor there, or the story lesson for Nadeko. Even if some people can't be happy, good things happen to them as long as they're alive. Yeah, that's very pointed to the Augie situation, I think. And then we change tact. I really like the transition between this shot here, where she's like leaving the door, and then here, like the lighting change. And of course, talking to the dark light dichotomy, which is visually through the entire arc, basically. Interestingly enough, she says that, oh yeah, I met you yesterday, Tsukihi. And it's like, we met? I don't remember meeting her at all. Almost some of this Araragi forgetfulness coming out in Tsukihi. And the vibes here are just terrible. There's no music. Augie's already broadly pretty creepy. I thought something bad was going to happen to Tsukihi, but that didn't happen. I think maybe the implication is that she was going to try to do something bad, and then Araragi was just there. Because he knew. Right? I don't know what Shin Denzu and Shin Denaizu are. She's alright, I guess. She's not dead. If anything, it's like she was dead before now. Which, you know, like, she wasn't alive as a character before now. Now she has a little bit more purpose and agency, which is good, as her story throughout the show has unveiled, I guess. Well, they say that there's more to everyone than just being cute. In my opinion, girls like that are cuter when they're not being cute. So a little bit of Araragi coming out in your perversions, sure. Being a pretty girl only ended up being a blade Sengoku-chan used to inflict wounds on herself. Bit of self-hatred. Transition that to self-love. I think I still feel like there's this thing where Augie's implying she isn't cute, so she doesn't deserve retribution in the same way that everyone else does, right? For Sengoku-chan, cuteness was also a chain to bind herself with. But still, I'm sure it was too precious a talent for her to get rid of by herself. She needed some drastic measures. Well, I remember the drastic measures that you employed, for sure. Who knows? I don't. Yes, you do. I don't know anything Araragi knows, right? In a similar way that Sengoku wants to be a mangaka, what does Tsukihi want to be? She doesn't have anything. I'm fine as long as I'm enjoying the present. She's just living in the moment, man. I feel like these things link together to form the future, right? You don't need to have a concrete goal in mind. You just let it happen. You're not the type that knows everything, but the type who can do everything. You are not omniscient, but you are omnipotent. And so you have too many choices. And your objectives are probably scattered all over the place. Okay, thanks for psychoanalyzing me, but sure. Though I say future, your future is too much, or much too large in scale. Again, she's immortal. It's going to go on forever. It's a fact that the support of others is keeping you alive. Without everybody's help, you'd be donezo. You'd be exterminated. Like, you're going to be exterminated, allegedly. Of course, Tsukihi knows nothing of that whole situation. People can't live without others' help. People live of their own accord. What can't live of its own accord are monsters, right? Without somebody, like... without the mystery, you don't exist almost, right? Without the other people, you couldn't be here, right? But I also think it's a broad swipe at the whole Araragi friends, less human relationships bad, I should focus solely on myself, I'm an edgy boy stuff being manifested here. I think. So yeah, and again, like we're implying that Tsukihi can't exist without other people as well, right? Araragi even now still loving Tsukihi and preventing her from even if we told her her true identity, I don't think the darkness would come after her. I think that's what's happening here as well, or what will happen with you. And then the vibes are just terrible. We take Tsukihi randomly to the fucking cram school. We see these shots here that are straight from Monogatari. Another bit of series self-referential stuff. Isn't that the building that burned down back in August? Yes, it most certainly did. During the events of Neko Shiro, and by extension, what was that shit even called? Shinobu Mail? Is that what that was? Yeah, let's say that. We see this. This confused me for a second, but this is just the bike chain lock, and her passcode is 1234 because of course it is. How perfect is it? Just counting up by one. So again, I don't really know Augie taking her to the cram school. I don't know what the objective is here, but sure, go off. So Tsukihi's initially a little bit scared, but then we figure out it's a cram school, and once we figure out its true identity, it ceases to be scary at all. This is literally what's happening to Augie right now from me, right? I know what Augie is now. I'm not scared of Augie anymore. If anything, I want them to make up. It'll be like cute. But before that, I'm like, what the fuck is an Augie? Get it away from me. I think they've done a good job from that perspective. There isn't many points throughout the show where I'm like, oh, that's a little bit sad for Augie. This whole time I've been like, yeah, fuck Augie. Woo, I'm on Gaian's side. And now I'm like learning this revelation and it's ceasing to be scary. There's definitely something in that, fourth wall-wise. We get even more apparent with all the lines about mystery novels and revealing mysteries, and specifically one line. That one line about Augie is a massive spoiler. That could be said at any point. I'm very happy that I didn't get spoiled on it and got to kind of figure it out myself in a way, which was good. Yeah, there's almost a meta layer to this where once Augie's nature is revealed, her utility in the show is gone too, right? Her utility in the story. So she should just leave, right? And then and then Tsukihi's lines about no, once in real life, right? Implying that okay, there's layers to this because this is a piece of fiction, but they don't see it like that. They see it as real life. So in fiction, finding out the mystery, right, that'll make you feel some sense of calm, right? But in like real life, especially with the existence of monsters, right, finding out something like that exists, that there was actually a culprit, is terrifying. And then you need to reconcile everything else that comes along with that. And I think that's kind of what we're going to get into with Augie. I do think there's some meta storytelling level nature to all of this as well. Like Nisio-sen's not dumb. He's obviously doing this for a reason beyond just telling the story. And this perspective from Tsukihi, it challenges what Augie's point of view was at this point. She's like, oh, you got me. Even bring up the paperwork, like the paperwork's way longer. You don't want to do paperwork, right? That's a bit funny. Besides, you say the true identity, but it's not always going to be correct. There might actually be an even bigger plot twist. Okay, I missed this. Maybe there is. Maybe I'm resting on my laurels too much. Maybe there's more to be discovered. True identity is written as right body. Okay, sure. I don't understand how this the true identity of Augie, the right body of Augie. What is something they're cooking here? They're cooking here, I think. I don't know, especially with the previous line. Maybe I'm not as sure as I thought I was. Tsukihi, they may have accepted your own identity, or maybe have even been amused by it. The same thing probably isn't going to happen for me. My true identity is unsightly. Unfortunately for you, what you're calling a future doesn't actually exist. It's not that you don't know what will happen in the future. There is no future. No matter how much of the present you pile up, it won't lead to a future. I think this is implying something about immortality as well. Yeah, and I love Tsukihi's answer here. Can you continue to do this knowing that your life is going to be an eternal present? There's no future, right? Probably. I don't know. She's just kind of winging it. I love her perspective here. Then the first most obvious thing we see here as we transition into the Araragi portion is this frickin' bike, if I can grab it. Yeah, here. Like, bashed up bike. Bike represent Araragi and Augie. Also red. Think about it. We see Araragi on his fucking throne of desks. Do you reckon he set this up himself, or... It's a bit funny. But yeah, this is a very important room in the cram school. Like, a lot of the content of the show has taken place here. The tree growing throughout it as well. This place, like, burned out. Is that why all the desks are kind of burnt? Why were these ones okay? Anyway, why is this even a structure? Am I stupid? I thought it like burnt down. Or did it just burn out? Why is there a tree still here? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is happening? So we see Araragi's here, then we just send Tsukihi home, we give her the code to the thing, and then she just leaves. So, I don't know what Augie was doing there, but now we get into talking with Araragi. We start talking about Shinobu, what Shinobu going to do. I heard she's big, is she around? We decided to bind ourselves to each other again once everything's resolved. So again, the thing I talked about with Shinobu, like transitioning from, like, this is relevant too, right? Because we brought this up earlier in the episode, that there was one other time that I refused to save somebody, to help somebody in need, right? And that led to a good situation in the end, right? With Shinobu, where in fact she wanted to go back to the way things were with this decision. Is a similar thing going to play out here, right? Right? Maybe. I think we're implying some kind of connection there between Shinobu and Orgi. Even now that we're talking about it, right? Shinobu, in a way, is kind of another side of Araragi. Like, literally, that's what Kizumonogatari, the ending there, is about. Like, Orgi is very similar to Shinobu in that regard, no? And the connection to Araragi? Just an aberration that is somewhat linked to him. Oh, this word quasi as well. A quasi-human again. A failed attempt at a vampire, right? And you're like quasi-darkness, right? Something human darkness, something. I don't know. Weird. Araragi cuts through the artifice by using one of his Monogatari isms, saying that he just loves young girls. By that he means he loves Shinobu and the connection that they forged. Either way, this conversation is meaningless because it's going to end Orgi's life in like a few minutes. Orgi's connection to the shrine and the lake and the mountain and all that is all very obvious now, right? Figuring out what to do with that giant hole that opened up in this town was a big problem, and now we've got Hachikuji to deal with that. Yeah, implying that, yeah, Orgi said that it was her job to fix something like that. And yeah, like I think that was Koyomi Monogatari 10-ish or something, right? Whichever the one with Orgi was. Alright, I see. So, like, what kind of riveting conversations did you have with Tsukihi? My job ended up being half done. I didn't get to finish the conversation. So you, upon finishing the conversation, may have had a similar effect on Tsukihi that you've had on other girls in the show. Again, broadly isolating them from Araragi. Maybe that's what you were trying to do very quickly. Like, I see it as, like, cramming before the end. Like, cramming before a test. That's what you were trying to do, right? That was a tough one. Nothing less from a phoenix. It's beyond what I can handle. Yeah, she was definitely trying some shit and it just didn't work, right? You were trying to bring up the futility of her own existence and make her feel bad, but she's like, "No, I'm chill." Okay, yeah, that conversation's way funnier in retrospect. Okay, let's put some perspective on it. How was Kaganui Yozuru going to exterminate such a long-living creature? You can exterminate monsters once you reveal their true identities, right? I'm saying you probably can't exterminate her even if you do reveal her true identity, because her big brother refuses to stop loving her, even knowing what her true identity is. Again, I think this is here for a reason. I think this is going to be our justification next episode when what happens, I think. Very curious about her role in Hana Monogatari now, by the way. Very, very curious. Orgi brings it up here. I suppose you won't be able to do the same thing for me. You'll reveal my true identity and I'll be exterminated right here. That's how it's going to happen. A one-on-one duel, we say. This time it's something I have to do myself. Something I can only do. And something that he wants to do alone. We don't bring up what it is, right? Right? But something that he wants to do alone, not with any of the guy and stuff. Or but maybe again, this is going to be a surprise to Araragi. I do not know. Are you only doing this because adults persuaded you to do so? You may think you're supporting Shinobu and Hachikuji, but isn't that just habit? People are more likely to value things that they could have lost, right? Like Hachikuji. If you bind yourself to such nostalgia, you'll never arrive at your future. Which I think is an interesting line considering the conversations with Tsukihi as well around the subject. And this is great. Like, just the matter of fact, let me make it clear that this is me pleading for my life. In that very calm tone of voice. Yeah, it is. Like, literally. I'll be less subtle than I was before. I won't be saved? Was I not charming enough? Well, that's the correct answer, Araragi-senpai. Unfortunately, I wanted you to refuse to do the right thing. So despite her whole thing about things being right and perfect and things, she still wants Araragi to betray this at the last moment to keep her alive, because living is good, as we talked about with Nadeko just before. Well, this party isn't quite in full swing, but let's have you end it now. It'll be my honor to do so, your true identity, and then we tickle the blue balls a little bit further. Your true identity is me. Hooray. Yeah, we did it basically. Yeah, I mean, I've said my piece about the reveal. I think it's pretty obvious by the time that I got to it, but it's still good. It still fits perfectly with the rest of the series, and especially the opening, and especially, like, it's all coming together basically. And I kind of just want to quit here and jump into the next one just to see what happens, right? So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop talking about in circles. The Hana Monogatari stuff is intriguing as fuck, by the way. what the implications we can draw from that, and Guy and Toy now as well. I want to see what happens. I want to see if Augie fucking turns to dust and fucking gets darknessed, or she just lives, and then we got to justify why. I think that'll be interesting. So yeah, see you in a second for episode 7 of Owarimonogatari Season 2. Rightio, I have episode 7 of Owarimonogatari Season 2 up here ready to go, not too bright on the camera, I don't think. And yeah, it says Chapter 11, and the time code is 24 minutes and 43 seconds. Sync up accordingly, Toish Y subs, and the picture-in-picture, which I'm sure I've talked about. So just gonna give it a 3, 2, 1, and we'll jump in. Rightio? 3, 2, 1. Go. What? Okay. Hopefully I have the subs on. Why are we playing cricket? Yes, true. Cricket reference? I love cricket, by the way. Oh, okay, so we got the confirmation there. That's good. Manifestation of her self-control. Nice, like, late cut there. The desire to criticize yourself? Huh. Okay, so that's our catalyst. Out. True. Really? I hate that there's like a legit reason why this happened, like scientific almost. Yeah. Ooh, body line. Oh. Huh. Cheating? Hmm. True. So it's the manifestation of all these doubts. Okay. Various aspects of self-hatred. Well, you wanted to save everybody. That was the problem. Huh. There's 2 Shinobus. Yeah, manifestation of self-hatred is an oversimplification, but yeah, basically. I'm loving that this is cricket. This is blowing my mind. Dark Koyomi. Mm-hmm. I see. Where's Hanakawa? True. Oh, he's okay. That's the setup why we knew she was going to be at a certain place at a certain time. This is a great shot, by the way. This reminds me of Kizu. It looks like he's asleep. What was that? It looked like she had a big cut on her face. Hmm. So an accepting of Augie is an accepting of all these things that Augie represents as well. Yeah, and then opening. Cool. Great. I should have another look at these lyrics next time too. Like a good look. I just love the production of this song too. Like that hit's so good. And the syncing. Yeah. I don't know how there's more Monogatari after this, is my point. I guess. Like, what are we doing next season? I guess we're bringing that up, right? Probably very soon. Because I can't imagine the resolution here is just like, I accept you, big hug, and then it's all okay. There has to be ramifications, right? Especially here where I believe the guitars come in. Yeah, here. It might just be a synth. But no, it's just yeah, I think somebody linked the instrumental to this song and I was kind of listening to it and I'm like, yeah, this kind of rips. That's a late opening too. All right. Please tell me what happened after the end of the last episode, please. Indeed. Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay, it worked. Well shit, maybe I'm just wrong. I mean, okay, it worked. The severity of the lies I've told. Well, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Indeed. Were you? Tadatsu is so weird. Well, yeah, I'd have to imagine that true as well. Yeah. I'm sure he doesn't feel good about it, though. Wrong and right, though. Okay. It's not even the final episode. True. Alright, are you gonna go save her? Because how else does Hana Monogatari work? Ooh. Reserved? Goodbye My Adolescence is interesting too. Not an interpretation I made. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, but aren't you both gonna get sucked in? Dodge? Okay, we dodged. Let's go. Oh, okay, that's bad. We need that. Yes. Mm-hmm. Wrong and right, huh? Yeah, ingratiate her into yourself. What? Yeah, you saved each other. This feels so finalistic, right? Huh? How'd you stop the bleeding? Not the yode, yode. Lover's suicide? Yeah, I'm clearly just like you. Well, does that make it better? I love myself, is what we're getting across. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. Ha ha ha. Oh! Let's go? Let's go, chat! This isn't like an illusion? Daddy's here. Let's go. Oh! She did it! Let's go! I win because she beat Augie. Do you get it? Antarctica? What was he in Antarctica? What do you mean? What? This is a pen? What is this? Okay, whatever, I'll read it later. Hanako was based? Something about a door? Stop. Did something good happen? Say the line. Yeah, he did it. Hardy ha. Sure. I don't understand why, but sure. Oh, gotcha. Exactly, and stops the darkness. Exactly. Gotcha. What a smart boy. But what does Guyan think about this? Why was he in? Why were you in Antarctica? Can I speak? And yeah, doesn't this put the whole the whole Gaian crew? Isn't that okay? Is that the interpretation you took? That's great. I'll take. Oh, the black and white changed. And it's graduation today. Don't blow him up. We just got him back. Not the hill. What is wishing with hair? Okay, sure. Was she growing it out or something? Well, there is. It's a little snail girl. Okay. Okay, hello, Karen. What? Have you guys been making out? No, the only person you should feed mouth to mouth is the bird girl over there. Okay, sure. Don't know about the boob part, but sure. Yeah, right and wrong, right? Helping others. Good opinion. We did it. Okay. Hello. Hello, Hachikuji. Yeah, speak down to me. I'm on my big fucking Aztec thing. Thanks for the tutorial. Okay. Alright. Down to his level. She's got an ego now. I don't like it. Thank you. So, did you eat the thing yet? Okay. She finally found a home. Okay, let's go. It's difficult for me to comprehend. Well, this is very pretty. Oh, and then that's what makes Arm better, probably. Nah, he'll be willing, I think. This is all very pretty, huh? Especially the music. Shut up. Okay, mommy. Okay, thank you. Oh, tell a story. Alright. I'm pretty sure this ends fine. Oh, is that at the cram school? That's very cute. Wait, did she dye her hair? Of course she dyed her hair. This is a stupid question. It's waiting for you, yeah. Well, I've kind of been gone for ages. Why are you on the move so much? Oh, his code was very similar? Was that the thing? What? So you don't know everything anymore? What are you talking about, man? Was it really that scary? Oh, at the North Pole? What? Don't fight the polar bears, there's not many of them left. Well, we're adults now too. Yeah. Yep. Gotcha, bitch. Oh, seeing these two together. Stop being a. She's been a sassy little so and so today, Hanakawa. Oh, she did it. Okay. No, don't do that. Stop calling each other by their names. It's too cringe. Okay, sure. How is there more of the show? Hana Monogatari. Who's this little creep? What was I looking at? What was that? Oh, to help somebody else. Pick up my diploma for me. Oh, this is cheesy. I love it. Not to the classroom. Not at all. Saw somebody in need. Okay. Okay, you. Yeah, how is there more? Is my thought. Not Kambaru. Is this going to be our last shot? Okay, that's cute. There's this I know you can't see it all. That's like Kambaru's friend next to her. Okay, we're zooming out more. It's a little girl Shinobu. Hello. Augie just hiding in the corner being a creep. That's cool. Hachikuji in the back. Yatsugi up the top. That's the middle school uniform that Tsukihi's wearing? I forget. But we did it? Naoetsu High School? Indeed. There was a weirdo. Okay, nice story. The shadow running alongside me. What happened next? How was there a next? Yeah, they really give you they give you nothing to go off for what's next. Like, at all. Either way, that kind of went how I thought it would. Kinda. Besides the Oshino Hanakawa stuff, which was broadly foreshadowed as well. Either way, I'll talk about it. Yeah, that was good. It was really good. Analysis on that shortly. And we're back, and that was Owarimonogatari second season, as well as Monogatari as we know it. I'm going to say. I think this is the payoff to essentially the show since the end of Nisei, but also including a bunch of elements before that as well. This is the payoff for basically everything, to the point where I don't know where the hell we even go from here. Like, what's even like the point anymore? You know what I mean? Like, we done it. We did it. We done it. It's done. It's finito. I don't know where else you could possibly even go. Honestly, I don't. I do not know. I've written a little bit here, and it kind of gives me jumping off points to talk about the various aspects of the episode. This episode is goddamn jam-packed. I'm going to try not to talk about it for ages, but we'll see where we go. Cricket. Here's my first point. So, again, I'm Australian. Australians love cricket. It's just what we do. So I'll be able to involve like a bunch of like cricket rule talk into what may be going on like metaphorically with that particular portion of the story, as Guyan again justifies the creation of Augie and how that happened. So again, we'll watch it again, but my understanding is that it all started with the manifestation of the darkness, right? So that is the rules of the universe. That is what dictates if aberrations are following the rules, what is right and what is wrong, and all that in between, and disposes of them if they aren't playing by the rules. So that's what happened to Hachikuji, right? That's what happened to Shinobu way back in the day during Owarimonogatari when we're doing that little flashback. That's why they're both aware of the darkness. And now in retrospect, all these are just setups for what happens here, right? So again, Araragi becomes cognizant of the darkness, of this force, right? He also, simultaneously, the first touches Guyan Toei's old arm of the devil thing, the rainy devil, right? Touches that arm. So the first touches arm, paired with Araragi idea about this, paired with the connection that the first and Araragi have via Shinobu, create some kind of weird Augie manifestation. That's the way I'm reading it at the moment. It's great that we have some actual reason why it was created, I guess, scientifically. But other than that, I'm just kind of like, sure, whatever you say, go for it. Because I think the emotional stuff is way more interesting. The emotions behind what made Augie happen, right? And we go into it. It's basically a big old cake. It's a 6-sided cake, right? 2 of the spots being taken up by Shinobu, but sure. So it's these feelings of self-loathing, essentially, right? That are formed around, and we'll go into the specifics later, around adult Kishot, originally in Kizu, around Hanakawa, broadly around all of Hanakawa's story through the show, Senjugahara, Kanbaru. Was there a Hachikuji one? I forget. There was a Nadeko one, though, for sure, and there was also Kid Shinobu as well. Just Araragi wondering if he is worthy, and Augie potentially being the manifestation of that feeling of unworthiness for this current situation. Again, broadly, self-loathing. So as we continue from where we left off right after it happened, something happened which I didn't expect. The darkness actually manifested, right? I guess if you do perfectly set up this moment, right, to the point where Augie can't avoid it. It's an unavoidable disaster waiting to happen. And the bait that Guyan Izuku's using is Tsukihi, right? Because, so let me break this down. Augie's kind of gone through order. She's gone through all the girls. Tsukihi's next on her list. She has to try and do something with Tsukihi to continue to do the same thing she's been doing this entire time, which is continue to remind Araragi of his own shortfalls, of his own unworthiness, of his own bad qualities, among other things, right? trying to manifest that onto Tsukiji to reveal something else about Araragi and then go down a whole Tsukiji arc, right? Tsukihi's a Chad because she's just like, yeah, don't care, basically. Oh, that'll probably happen. Okay, bye. That last-ditch effort by Augie is very interesting in retrospect, right? Because that last-ditch effort is also what leads Augie to the cram school. And the cram school that isn't burned down, by the way, which is a weird thing, and then it kind of just like melts away. And then there's the Shinobu and Araragi stuff later there, which is again weird. So we got Augie perfectly cast. If she refuses to do the Tsukiji thing tonight, then she will be going against her nature anyway, and the darkness will follow her and probably kill her, right? So now that I understand that, the Araragi's feelings can be oversimplified by saying Araragi's love for himself won over, right? His love of all his little insecurities and everything else, right? And that love bleeding over into his love for Augie. So that leads him to protecting Augie from the darkness, from losing this part of himself and losing his arm in the process, right? Which may be like the 4th or 5th time Araragi's lost an arm. It feels like that happens quite often. I don't know how Augie heals the arm. That's a question for another day. But it looks like it's curtains for Araragi and Augie, right? The darkness is encroaching. It's looking bad. Lo and behold, Oshino Meme intervenes. Now, this is a moment that's been very, very heavily foreshadowed, basically. Like, we knew that this was going to happen in some manner, basically since the start. When he left, he's like, I will return. I still don't understand the reason why he's in Antarctica. I think some of it is like, as soon as we unveil the Augie stuff, then he can appear, right? That's part of the almost supernatural justification there. Either way, he saves the day. Hanaka was here too. She saved the day. She brought him back from Antarctica, which is weird. Brought him here just in time, simultaneously solving the rivalry Augie had with Hanakawa at the same time. So this is all brought up by that little rivalry that they had during the start of Season 1 of Owarimonogatari, right? Through all the Sodachi stuff. So that comes full circle. I was just naming all the things that come full circle. Get ready for this epilogue, because it's like everything. So Meme then takes away the darkness by interpreting Augie as his actual niece. This makes it like correct or right in the eyes of the universe, and the darkness is no longer needed, right? There isn't that mismatch between what she claims to be and what she actually is, right? It's a little bit of a weird one, but I think the important part is that for Oshino Meme to appear, Araragi needs to have done most of the work himself anyway, right? In accepting Augie. So the universe then feels satiated by this newfound correctness that Oshino Meme has discovered, and again, in a similar way to Araragi and Tsukiji, right? So the darkness could potentially come after Tsukiji had the events of Nisei not happened, and she be let known about her existence, and she continue to basically play up this facade as his sister, right? But because Araragi forever interprets Tsukiji as his sister, there's no problem. The same thing's happening here with Meme and Augie, right? Where Meme's like, I'm going to interpret you as my niece, therefore you will now forever be my niece and the universe will be fine. We'll buy it, sure. And it was set up correctly. Like, it was pretty heavily foreshadowed last episode, as well as early in the series. Then we start the epilogue, which I think makes up like a good half of the episode, or at least it felt like it. It's graduation day. We check in with a lot of the characters and say our goodbyes. There's also more of this show, by the way, which I'm continuing to query. I don't really know what that's about, but sure. The most important stuff here is probably the Shinobu part where they reconnect. So that's important, right? For justifying why his arm is better. And why that little Shinobu's still around. I think there's a line towards the epilogue as well, towards the very end, where it's like Shinobu's in my shadow still, which is cool. It's basically back to status quo, at least in some kind of way. But then there's the very end where Araragi chases after the girl in need, even on his graduation day, with Araragi taking on these new lessons while keeping some of these older good qualities, right? He may have changed, but he's still himself all the way through. And I think that's a great message. I think that's a fantastic message. I just wish I'd discovered more of it organically. I think, broadly, you could summarize this arc with the line, where is it? It's up here. the oversimplification, right? Like, I think that this part can be oversimplified, but saying that Araragi's love for himself won over. I think that's all you really need to say. All the rest of the really specific details there couldn't be left to the wayside. Like, this is the most important message, and it's a fantastic message, don't get me wrong. I just think that I clued into it way back up here, right? I think. So, I don't know, maybe I did too much of the work too early, is my point. Maybe if I got lost in the moment a little bit more, this would be better. But I don't know, that's complaining about something that is broadly just fantastic. It is the culmination, it is the coming together of every plot point in the show thus far in a way that I haven't seen since something like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. So again, broad spoilers for that show, but the last portion of that, like the last arc, is just every single plot line that you've heard in that entire show having some bearing on the final thing. And this is the similar feeling here, and that's nothing but a massive compliment, like really is. So shoutouts to Monogatari, basically. You fully understood every single part of your text up to this point and used all those together to form this conclusion. My only query is that it's not the conclusion. There is more. So we will see what happens next week. I'm broadly pretty curious. I just don't know. Also, there's a bunch of news this week about Shaft as well. There's a Kizu thing that's just like a crazy recap movie or something. Anyway, and there's a Madoka thing. Is Shaft back alive? Not that they were dead, right? But are they? Because I could use more of this if there's room for more Monogatari, right? Because again, this feels like the ending. Why would you write more? But there is more. You know what I mean? I better get this up, otherwise we'll be here all day. First thing I see is like we open up and it's like, where's the cricket? Stumps. Hello? This is a wicket, everybody. Come on, everybody, we're gonna learn cricket. Yeah, this is some stumps or a wicket. That's a ball. We normally play with a kookaburra, but you can play with the Duke ball or many others across the globe. It's a very heavy, almost leathery ball that does some crazy stuff based on the seam, or you can spin it, or you can shine it up one side and make it swing, or yeah, there's lots of stuff. I don't know why we're using it as a metaphor. I think just a reflection of the baseball thing we did before, just with a different sport. I don't know. I do like this visual element as well, the silhouetting. Obviously, this is a huge revelation to Araragi in this moment, even though we don't live it. So yeah, just as, Guy Toy created the Rainy Devil, Araragi has created Orgi. The unknown apparition created by Guy Toy was the materialization of her self-control, which makes me want to rewatch Hana Monogatari as well. But anyway, it's a great shot by Shinobu as well. Let's get that up. Ready? Great shot. Nice. It's almost like it's a real slash at the ball. It's almost like a baseball strike. You don't normally see that. You normally see somebody getting on the front foot or maybe late cutting. I know nobody cares, but I'm going to nerd out about cricket for a bit. You could say that Oshino Orgi is your desire to criticize yourself, Araragi, based on these different experiences you've had with these different girls over the course of the show. Of course, that's not all she is. And then we see almost like a run out there, and then the out text on screen, right? And then we get to the actual explanation, which I talked about before. There's stuff with Hachikuji in the darkness and the idea, and then the stuff during August. August, very important, by the way. So we see the darkness as a manifestation of the judging of what's right and wrong, which is why we bring up that theme so much later on when we're talking with Orgi. I remember noting this as well, like the energy drain used on the left arm of Saruga. Here, the undiluted essence of the unknown my older sister created combined with the first one. Through Oshino Shinobu, you and he understand one another, and then that's what created Orgi. So it's weird that that's like the birth of Orgi, is that like sequence during the start or the end of Owarimonogatari during Shinobu Male. That's funny. Yeah, specifically the eating of the first as well. Through the food chain, part of my sister's legacy flowed into you. It resulted in the birth of an unknown in possession of all the apparitions in this town and their experiences. Oh, so that's how we're justifying why you have so much knowledge about like the snake and the crab and everything else, right? Because yeah, okay, that's cool too. Oshino Orgi is able to wield heart under blades, physical materialization skill, at the very least. And the last name Oshino originates from Oshino Shinobu, as opposed to Oshino Meme, which we may have been thinking in the past, even though they both flow from the same spot. And now we have tea, right? So you have a tea break in cricket, especially Test cricket, right? Where you'll break. And then they're having cake. This is all very very British, no? But yeah, this is like a wedding cake too. So signifying love? between him and Augie, but also between him and all the other girls in the show as well, right? Because each piece has a different girl's face on it. So what's interesting is that you've known since spring break, deep in your heart, that you're cheating. You're a human that's also immortal. But we go through it all here. You helped Kishshot out of sympathy and wanted to face the consequences of that, right? You didn't... Listen, you made that choice at the end of Kizu with some element of self-sacrifice in mind, and it ended up fine for you, so you felt guilty about that, guilty over your own happiness. You developed a friendship with Hanakawa Tsubasa, but kept worrying about whether you deserved it, since you couldn't live up to her feelings. So, again, that's a lot of the Hanakawa baggage through a lot of the show, right? Nice like blueberries, by the way. I had porridge and blueberries just before. Anyway, I don't see how that's relevant, but, like, Hanakawa is best girl in the world, right? That's what Araragi sees her as. How come she like me? That can't happen. She can't like me. I'm bad. Why you like me? I can't live up to... The girl who's the best liking me is so foreign to me that I can't even cope. So that's a worry, right? That's a feeling of unworthiness. So you helped Senjugahara Hitagi with her long-term issues, but kept thinking that dating her was taking advantage of her weakness. Which, I mean, sure, that's been present all the way since Hitagi Crab, right? Or more notably, a little bit more through the later portions of Bake, right? Like, why do you like me? And justifying that. And then there's the whole Nisei Kaiki connection, and where you need to confirm some things. Okay, sure. You respect Kambaru Saruga but felt inferior because you couldn't live in her straightforward manner. I think that's more a column, like a good thing for you than her. Like, we go into this in Monogatari, and how this may not be what it's perceived. You saved Sengoku Nadeko, but back then it wasn't just Sengoku Nadeko that you really wanted to save, so you felt some element of guilt because you sicked a snake constrictor on somebody else, right? That's what I'm seeing this as. You gradually reconciled with Oshino Shinobu, but was that even allowed? I don't know. She seemed pretty chill about it later on. I'm seeing, the scene with them by the tree is the kind of resolution of this, right? Like the transition back from Kishshot into Shinobu. This is also interspersed, like, very creative visual episode, right? We had the silhouette part, but it's also interspersed with just like some shenanigans between Shinobu and the other two. Like, they just keep fucking around where Aragi's going through the worst revelations of his life. Yeah, this interpretation of Araragi as the worst kind of human imaginable, powered by whatever first darkness bullshit we had before, is creating Augie. Specifically this shot here, bro. What is this? This, like, fountain is playing slip. Anyway, and why do you have a leg slip? What's going on here? Anyway, you normally have a one on this side. It makes sense. She does cream the ball, though. That's a 6. Hell yeah. Either way, the girl is dark Araragi, dark Koyomi. Like the darkness, she took things one by one, with the case of Oyakura Sodachi as the springboard, and crushed them. So taking all the good things in your life, all those things that you were just talking about, right? Hanakawa, Senjo, Kambaru, Hachikuji, the adults, everything, right? Like, crushing these things one by one, going through, being a darkness, acting as your own punishment. Araragi does make the catch here. Aotu. As I keep going through now, this idea of Araragi and his self-hatred literally perpetuating this whole entire part of the show is super damn interesting to me, right? So Augie picking up the slack of things that Araragi wants to forget, reminding him of these things through the Sodachi situation, starting in the classroom and then moving through all the past stuff with her, that horrible experience that he wanted to repress. Again, using this as a springboard to then jump off to do whatever's next, right? Sees that the Sodachi situation in itself wasn't enough to crush him, right? Then proceeded to act like a darkness. Once Araragi is cognizant of this idea of the darkness, this idea of correct and right and justice and all these themes coming into it, and then acting in accordance with that and isolating him further and further, there are so many damn directions you can take that. It's brilliant. How good is that? And it's pretty obvious on the surface level, but now it's all out on the table. So like a big old deck of cards, every card is faced up. You can now see all the connections. And I don't think I entirely do it justice here, but just know that there's a ton, and I'm looking forward to reading everything in Discord. I'll be pretty active on there over the coming little bit. Hopefully I don't keep putting little pieces of information here. Hopefully I try to show some restraint. So if you exterminate Oshino Orgi, you will find all these people. Kaiki even helped somewhat with this by isolating you from Nadeko in his own weird way. She still has things left undone. Right, Araragi Tsukihi, your sister. So that's what she was targeting in the end of episode, or the first episode we watched today. It's impossible that part of you isn't wondering if it's okay for her to live, pretending to be human. And Orgi's going to be the manifestation of this doubt. That's what she's trying to do. But Tsukihi's too strong. I think Guyan realizes this, uses her as a bit of a lure, right? We know that she's going to target Tsukihi next, right? So we're going to essentially place a trap. I don't know what the significance of the cram skull is and why it turns into pixie dust, but that's neither here nor there. I love this shot too. Reminds me of Kizu so much, like the building of these 3D environments and then the slow zooms through them. We love to do that in Kizu, which makes sense considering the production of this and its date very close to Kizu. So I think it's a pretty good decision to tell the story in the order we did. So this scene, chronologically, would take place right in the middle of the last episode, but we move it to now once we understand things a little bit better. Like, it helps create that nice feedback loop in your brain of, oh, that's why Orgi was doing the thing with Tsukihi, right? Just makes sense. And yeah, Araragi, it's up to you to go and end it. And apparently that's going to be the end of his adolescence, right? And this is where we bring in the graduation theme, the transition from adolescence into adulthood through the perspective of, like, eliminating these feelings about yourself, right? These things, whether they be good or bad qualities, removing yourself from that and transitioning and changing is the aim of the game. I think the resolution we come to with Araragi and the decision that he makes to incorporate some of this into the rest of his life, into his makeup, is important. You don't become a new person once you turn 18. These formative experiences are still very, very important. IMO. And then a very late opening. I promised I'd read the lyrics again, so I will. Truth is, either I know it all the way from the start, or I'll figure it out once it's all over. Again, very fourth wall about the discovery of who Orgi is. The key to solve the riddle is right in the palm of your hand. Orgi, palm, hand, can't see it through a sleeve? Think about it. All about you, all about me, it's all about me. All your things, all my things, they're all our things, or something to that effect. Yeah, all your things, all my things, they're all my things. In order to get something, you have to give up something else, which is something we don't do. Then one more, then another one. Beyond the many ifs, there could be a different future. I'll gather one of each and keep on chasing you. The theme of future is interesting too, which comes up through Orgi and having a future and thinking that this is going to be the end. And then the same chorus again. Like, all of this is just bleedingly obvious now. I'm waiting for the Discord to just pop off and say, here's all the moments that were, like, clues for what's actually happening, right? It's you who knows what no one else knows. That's our story, a story of the you I don't know. Cute. Still don't get the cherry, though. Other than just like, oh, you could do it like tree stuff, right? So, Araragi tree, growing, balls. Now, growing fruit, bearing fruit, two different pieces of fruit growing from the same place. Can they be incorporated together? Something in that, maybe? Either way, now we're back exactly to where we are. Araragi calls out Orgi's true identity, and I'm surprised to see that the darkness actually manifests. I didn't think that this would happen, but it did. We just needed Oshino to do the heavy lifting with the loving of Orgi, rather than Araragi. Araragi demonstrates his love in a different way. Orgi's such a great character for a moment like this too, because of her demeanor and it being so almost one note, so in control. Once she is defeated and once Araragi makes his sacrifice, right, you see some genuine emotion start to pour through, and I think that's when it kind of hits, right? That's the good stuff, you know? You have a character that's a little bit, emotionally stunted, and then they show some emotion, and it, that's how the magic happens. Orgi says it may be the severity of her lies that caused the darkness to show up so quickly, which I think is implying that she was, trying to be the darkness itself. Araragi asks the question of why Orgi would even show up if she knew she was going to lose. Sometimes you have to fight, even if you know you're going to lose. Even though she knows that I'm going to show up here, and it's an ambush, I still have to show up, being perfectly cast in my role, because it's in my nature to do so. Orgi's like, if I could say some dying words, I'll say that I was able to make Araragi Koyomi's adolescence more right, more correct. Again, there's like this nonchalantness to it all, right? Where she's like, if I can say some final words. So yeah, made his adolescence more right, if not more better. If you're saying this is right, then I don't need what's right, right? And this thing represents what's right. This represents the rights and wrongs of the universe. And it's going to take you away, right? I don't want to accept right and wrong. I don't want to accept black and white as the answers, right? I think there's shades of grey to this. I think that's kind of what Araragi's trying to say here. Of course, the subtext to all this is everything that what Augie has been doing has been something deep down in Araragi that he's wanted to forget about as well, the darker side of his emotions. And Augie just represents the manifestation of this, you know? So even though, you know, all these terrible things have been done to all these different characters via Augie, Araragi is somewhat responsible, deep down. The right thing is clear-cut. What is right, what is wrong? You can cut them apart. Even if you can't decide what's right, you can determine which side is right, can't you? In Oyakura Sodachi's case, I was wrong. In the case of Nadeko, I was right. In the case of Taratsuru, let's call it even. I don't know what she's blabbing on about there. What is blood talking about? But sure, go off. I'm sure somebody can provide something. I thought I could win in a one-on-one fight. A fight of who is right and who is wrong. A fight that punishes the liars, potentially, right? And this is the conclusion. Araragi won this challenge. As I'm disappearing right now, it means that you were right all along. But again, I don't think it's about these binary rights and wrongs. And that's what we learn in the end, which again, I think is a good lesson heading into adulthood. Of course, this with the backing of all this justice subtext throughout the rest of the show, right? What is just? Who determines what is just? All of the stuff with the classroom and all of the stuff with Oyakura, right? What was right in that situation, you know? This is the end of adolescence or perhaps the end of the story. You know, very fourth wall, right? Because it literally kind of is. The end of adolescence part's interesting as well. This is Araragi growing up. And he's got some decisions to make, right, about what kind of person he's going to be. This is like the manifestation of that. Augie, again, seeming very aware of her own place in the story. This isn't, you know, the end. This is just the end of one of your stories. It's not even the final episode or anything, right? This is just me playing my role perfectly and saying goodbye. I'm glad I could disappear like this before you graduated, right? So you had a, you know, chance as we continue, right, to, I guess, prosper in the wake of me not being here. This is where Araragi has his little flashback, right, to all the different moments with Augie at some point. Yeah, here when he's looking down, I think. Says farewell, all these different flashes of all the different times Augie's been around, even though she's been a little gremlin. It's still a part of you, you know? And saying goodbye to that is difficult. And again, Augie being a representation of the adolescence, right? Like saying goodbye to your adolescence and all those qualities that it encompassed, right? I think there's important things through your adolescence that you should bring into adulthood, even though you're changing, right? And change is good. You still have to be the person that you are. This is still a formative experience and you can't just push it away. I think that's what this decision represents as well. We notice another color shift here, a more sharp contrast between the white and black as we save Augie. This is what I mean. So this is Augie showing a little bit more emotion in the dialogue. And Araragi's arm is gone. He's saved her from the darkness. Of course, the other relevant part being that Araragi is no longer immortal. He can't just lose arms willy-nilly. He's sacrificing a part of himself in trying to save someone else, right? He's not just relying on his powers. This is the real deal, you know? It's also something that Augie was trying to use to trap him, which makes it ironic that he uses his humanity now to save her, you know? And I don't think that this is like other parts, right? Where Araragi has been so willing to sacrifice his own life in saving somebody else, right? I don't think it's like that. Because it's himself. It's him saving himself, you know? He isn't sacrificing himself to save another, he's sacrificing himself to save himself. He doesn't want to transition into adulthood and keep all of these, or become a different person, become this person that is canonically correct, right? He wants to still keep some of these aspects of Augie around as he continues, right? That's what this is metaphorically trying to represent, I think. It still shows immense self-value rather than anything else. It's not self-disdain or anything else in between, you know? Self-love. This is what this is. Calling Araragi wrong as a person. You're the absolute worst as a person for doing this, for sacrificing yourself to save you, who is so perfectly cast to die in this moment. You're doing the wrong thing here. And of course, Araragi here, I didn't save someone else. Right now, I just saved myself. So this isn't a self-sacrifice with such a low amount of esteem in himself. It is a self-save, for lack of a better term, right? Bringing up all the different characters in the story. Everyone saved him. So his relationships with everybody else in the show, right? Him not saving himself in this regard when they tried so hard to save him would be blasphemous, right? It's not how this is going to go. Again, more fuel to why he saves Augie the way he does. I don't get this still. Like Augie look, and then Augie wave arm, and then bleeding goes away. I do not understand. The sleeves are magic, basically. I planned for this to be a solo suicide, but it ended up being a lover's suicide, Araragi. Because we love each other. Which is good. It's good metaphorically. Not ethically, but, you know, good. Let's make it clear, Araragi, I'm not like a middle school girl. You're not saving me for that reason, right? Araragi's like, no, you're not. Either way, you're just like a newborn baby, born 6 months ago, right? Does that make it better, Araragi? Thoughts? Do you want to speak on that one for a little bit more? But I get what he's saying. Babies should be protected like this. I mean, I agree. Sure. If you're saying what I've been doing up till now isn't wrong, like early in the scene she said, Araragi, you've been right, the fact that I'm doing this now, or right now, shouldn't be wrong either. Sure. But basically, yeah, just catching her in a bit of a logical fallacy, right? If you think what I was doing was right, then I'm just continuing to do what I've always been doing. I'm not wrong, right? Just like you aren't wrong. They're just trying to make it as confusing as possible. But neither of us are wrong in the grand scheme of things, right? What is right? What is wrong? What is this? What is you, right? You shouldn't exist. Who cares about you? What is the universal right and wrong? And then we end, really, you're foolish, Araragi. And what she's been saying the whole time, that Araragi is a fool. And then the I don't even know what you call this, yellow? Not quite, says Oshino Meme, from yonder. We see the cross, we see his goddamn Hawaiian shirt and everything else in between. I can't make fun of you as you finally fight for your own sake. Rather than, again, all the stuff when Oshino was here was broadly about his self-esteem, right? From Kizu into Neko Kuro into whatever the hell Bake was, and then at the end of Bake is gone. So, like, that whole time, Araragi's been kind of just, you know, he was in a bad place. So he's transitioned out of that. Oshino Meme gets to see that in his final triumphant moment as he's progressed. He's made actual character progress over the time that he's been gone. And yeah, I mean, let's take our view out a little bit. This is major fan service, but it's just fantastic that I just don't care. Heavily foreshadowed. He is here. It's the guy. He did it. We did it. But of course, I was way more excited about who's next to him. Based. Capital B based. We love Hanakawa. She says that she wins and then falls to the ground, basically paying off this whole Augie rivalry thing that we've had the whole time. And now that we know who Augie is, that makes it very interesting, doesn't it? Hanakawa has beef with the side of Araragi that manifests his self-doubts. Oh, that's great. So let's break this down. Oshino Meme was in Antarctica. Augie knew this. Augie was probably obscuring this information somehow. Hitagi, if that's the case, it wasn't "this is a pen," it was "dispayment." This is pen. What? Help! What is this? Okay, apparently it wasn't "this is a pen," it was "dépassement." The feeling of not being at home in a foreign or different place, whether a good or bad feeling, change of scenery. Dépassement. Dépassement. Does that sound like "this is a pen"? Sure, Nisio-san, I'll let you have that one. Come to think of it, Augie had been alarmed by Hanakawa from the start. The name Augie was actually Augie because you added door to wings, wasn't it? I don't know what the hell you're talking about, man, but sure. This is me post, but I know that Hanakawa Tsubasa, that's like wings, right? I know that. So I don't know what door added to that is. But I made like half the connection. There's just enough time for Oshino Meme to get off his, cute little lines, but also in the process he calls Augie his cute little niece, right? Which is important for getting the darkness away. Niece, that is what he said, in reference to Augie. Oshino Meme said so. Oshino Meme acknowledged Oshino Augie as a relative. So, take this a step further, there's always been some big brother, little brother energy to Augie. No, not Augie. To Araragi and Oshino Meme, right? Almost like this aspirational figure that he never had. And now this is that, yearning coming full circle as well, I think, as well. Being accepted by Meme, which is something that the both of them always wanted. But more literally, accepting her existence, no longer fabrication or lie, therefore it's okay, we can continue. And that's why the darkness disappeared. Oshino Meme saved us, baby. I didn't really save you at all, you just saved yourself on your own, Araragi. Again, I think there's some stuff where until the fabrication is broken, Oshino Meme can't be found as well. So that's what I'm reading this as. His sacrifice earlier in the scene is still inherently important to this, and it gives us some congratulations. Thanks, Dad. Oshino Orgi became Oshino Orgi. Sure. And thus Araragi Koyomi's adolescence came to an end, and this fabrication over Korean school also melted. Because again, it burned down. I don't know what's happening here, but sure. I had believed that not being concerned for myself was an act of loving others. So then it's not a binary thing, right? Self-sacrifice. There needs to be a grayscale of caring for yourself, self-preservation, as well as giving yourself over to other people when necessary. The days of kind deception, filled with a shallow, weak euphoria, have come to an end. Kind deception. Okay, sure. Either way, now we're in like super epilogue. I wanted to highlight this transition scene as well, if I can grab it. Yeah, here, because it's white instead of black. I don't know, sure. I thought it was something. So it's the epilogue, it's March 15th, it's graduation, Nichan, it's morning. We do the classic like sisters wake me up routine, which again, this is just for the fans, basically. They love it. They blow him up with some dynamite, I don't know what that's about. Either way, Araragi back on the bike, climbing up the hill, basically just checks in with everybody and sees how they're doing. First with Tsukihi-chan. What were you wishing for? I mean about your hair. I was actually wishing your exams would go well and also a bit about Nadeko-chan. I don't know if this is like her growing her hair or what, but she's wishing for something, so sure. You have to imagine that this is way longer in the novel, right? And we meet with everybody and we have a good conversation with them. Something about Kami and hair, and Kami is God? I don't know. So apparently as of yesterday, there is now a god, that being Hachikuji. So we explained that through our little god Tsukihi conversation. Confirmation that Hachikuji did eat the thing. I don't understand Karen here. Apparently we won't be able to make out with Karen now that she's in high school. I didn't know that we were doing that. Sure. Let's brush each other's teeth. Please no. No more teeth brushing. So Karen's pretty simple. She's going to continue to be a sister of justice even without another sister helping her. What is the right thing in your view of justice? Helping others. I see. Turn around, give her a good old head pat. You keep doing that. You keep doing this justice thing, even though I've got my misgivings about it. You keep doing it, right? And helping others. That's the core motivation there. Then why not start by helping yourself? Of course, this is the lesson Araragi was just learning. Then we see Hachikuji on the top of this pyramid, because she's a god now, and she acts sassy for a bit. If you insist on talking to me, you must pray. And all these gives us a little tutorial, which is cute. It's great, right? So she's gone from she's gone from the top there where she was posing as the god in front of the sun. She takes like a slippery slide down, and hey, I'm still the normal me, right? She's still going to be around in basically the same way she existed in the show. Offers to Araragi to come visit the shrine when he can. Obviously, she can't go to the graduation because the people will be in an uproar if a god attended. And yeah, we can visit any time to her home. Her new home, which is the shrine. Isn't that just great? Isn't that just great? That's full circle. That's a tight little bow on her little story as well. Isn't that great? Is that great, everybody? Like, it's back to Karen. That's like a tight little bow on her stuff from Nisei, right? The stuff even earlier in the episodes that I've watched today was the Tsukihi little bow as well. We're just tying bows everywhere. Love it. I don't know how there's more. How is there more? Unless like the next step is just the start of a new conflict or something, and there's going to be like way more. I don't know. Either way, now we flash back to the previous night where we're with Shinobu. So Shinobu has a desire to be like back into Araragi's shadow. This is the payoff for basically all of Kizu, for that conversation in Nisei where they were in the bathtub, for like a bunch of other shit, right? For Kabuki, among other things. Like, without one, there is no other. They are intertwined forever and ever. No matter what happens, this relationship is going to last to the end of time. That's what I see in this scene now. Not to mention it's gorgeous, the music is gorgeous, the big old dress is gorgeous. Like, it's just, that's fantastic. This is one of my favorite scenes in the episode for sure. From a young girl to a phantom woman, and then to wish to return to being a young girl once again. Almost a manifestation of immortality there as well. I think jokingly Shinobu says here, after I do this and heal his arm, I'm going to go to retreat to the mountains somewhere. Then Araragi's obviously like I would let you do that. And then yeah, they're going to be like cute symbiotic couple thing, something, forever. It's basically what I'm saying from this. They want to keep doing this. Which again is the ultimate piece of character development for Shinobu from the start of the show to the end. It's literally a perfect arc. And we bring up Mr. Donut, which is almost a Monogatariism in itself, because it's such a stupid thing to bring up at this moment, but sure, go for it, I guess. They basically just say that they love each other or whatever. The important part here is that if Araragi was to die, Shinobu would spend 3 days telling the tale of Araragi to someone. Again, this idea of preservation through storytelling, which I find interesting, before dying herself. I would proudly recite the story of my master to anyone willing to listen. Which is maybe where Nisuwa-sin heard it, I don't know. Then the sun rises, and now they're back fused together again. Because Araragi has an arm, so that must have been what happened. Of course he wants some sleep. Like, the girls are waking him up early in the morning. Like, he probably hasn't slept all night. Like, give him a break. Also, this scene, which we just saw there before. Hang on. Here. This is what we see during the credits. This is, like, where they stand after graduation to get the picture done. Hanakawa's back. She dyed her hair because it's an official thing. Apparently she's going to be jet-setting very soon after this as well. And meeting him at the kind of bike thingo, car park, for lack of a better term, is the last chance they'll get to talk for a bit. You want to know what else is great? Araragi's code for his bike is extremely similar to Augi's code for her bike. His is 1345 instead of Augi's 1234. Both proper in their own way, but one taking an extra step there. I don't get what this is about. Like, apparently, in order to get Oshino back from Antarctica, I sold off a bit of my brain. I guess you call them jet setters? Well, I had to go that far in order to charter a fighter plane, which is what she brought him home in. It's fine, I sold it to a relatively honest institution. And then Araragi just, like, pervs at her body for a bit. I don't know what any of that was about, but sure, pop off, because Hanakawa involved, so it's good. Then we learn of Kaganui. Kaganui's at the North Pole, in the same way that Meme was at the South Pole, so I don't know what that's about. Apparently they got maybe moved there by Augie, in a weird way. Maybe it's like some kind of displacement. Either way, now she's like fighting polar bears. Please don't do that. We need those. And Ononoki, like, rather than looking for Kaganui, is just chilling at Araragi's house. It's partly because Gaien-san and Oshino left so suddenly. It looks like adults were busy in a lot of ways, so needing to leave her here as a result. And then it's like, oh yeah, adults are busy, well, we're going to be adults very soon. No, Hanakawa, you're already an adult. We're catching up, me and Hitagi. And then calling her Hitagi, and then, yeah, we exploit out from there. I think the understanding of Hanakawa as an adult, comparatively, now that she's gone off and done her own thing, is great, right? What else does it mean to grow up? What else were we talking about with Nadeko before when she was doing the manga stuff? You're doing what you really wanted to do the whole time. And isn't that great? And smug Hanakawa for the journey home as well. We love this one shot of Senjogahara being very, very upset that Hanakawa is walking with Araragi as well, calling him Araragi-kun. Aren't you going to call him Koyomi? And then it's all very cute. It's lovely. It's very fan servicey, but I like it because I'm a fan. And calling her Tsubasa as well as a result. Just, the gang's all here, baby. Apparently Kambaro presented a graduation gift, and it was a bunch of flowers. Monogatari reference, I guess. Seemingly an ordinary flower bouquet. And she's here with her mate. This is the interesting part. We see Araragi look over to this girl who is covered in aberration juice and is all dark and stuff and looks like she has some kind of problem. Looks down at her, doesn't avert his gaze, sees the problem. Both realize at the same time, both Hanakawa and Senjogahara, and see him off. Tell him that it's okay for him to do this at this moment. Grab my diploma for me as he rushes off to save the girl right in front of him once again. Yeah, and you could call it cheesy, because it kind of is. But I think they've earned it, right? And it's all the themes of the show coming together in a way that I think it fits well enough for me to not say it's completely without tact. Of course, while running through to the last classroom On that right-hand side, he sees Augie once again. Apparently Araragi hasn't changed at all. Araragi says he is changing, he is transitioning from adolescence to adulthood, but despite that, despite everything, I'm still me. Little chuckle by Augie. Augie looks into the camera, and then we get this. It's just big old fan service. I went through it in the moment, basically. There's a little bit here at the end where Shinobu's like, oh yeah, there's a story or something. I'm curious to see what happens next in the story. Shinobu's just vibing. I don't know. Sure. I don't know what happens next at all, by the way. So yeah, that's Augie Dark, everybody. It's very obviously really good. I probably don't need this up now that I'm thinking about it. There you go, that's probably better. Yeah. I mean, everything just came together. I think I said so in as many words. There's probably even layers that I'm missing at this point. But I almost don't think they even matter. I think the most important thing and the thing that they're getting across is powerful enough that I don't need all the artifice as well. I think, again, like the justifications for why Augie exists are ancillary. I think Augie's representation and the accepting of her, the emotional side of it, the metaphorical side, is way more important for Araragi's journey. This is an Araragi arc through and through, and yeah, I think they take full advantage of that. There's the great reveal of the Oshino and the Hanakawa, and just everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. The epilogue's just pure fan service goodness, and 2 thumbs up. I loved it. What the fuck is next? Is my question, right? That is, I've got no clue. I've got no clue what you would even do after this. But either way, my voice is starting to hurt. I think that's a pretty good cue for me to put the cue in the rack. But obviously really good. This arc's great. In a way, it's alleviated a lot of the mystery of the show, though. Which is maybe what we kind of lampshaded a little bit as well, which is funny. Either way, thank you very, very much for watching this far and watching the episode and watching everything. So thank you. Thank you for subscribing as well. Thank you for the support. Thank you. And chill stuff. So like the damn video and comment on the damn video and follow me on Twitter, damn it, and join Discord. And other than that, just broadly thank you for everything else. We're going to be back for more Monogatari next week. I'd imagine just the one, because this was long. But thank you regardless. I know I've said it like a million times. I'll be back next week for some Zoku Owari. Sure. And I'd love for you guys to talk to me on Discord about what you thought about this episode and what I potentially missed. So yeah, rightio. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.